What's up everyone, welcome back to Overlanding World. In this video we're going to talk about something a little bit sad. The Toyota finally broke. So over this past weekend we were on some trails up in Big Bear. There was a lot of snow that had melted all over the trails, creating a lot of mud puddles, which I can't resist driving into. And we had a lot of water that got into the actuator on the transfer case. So this caused the car to get stuck in 4 low. So for those who don't know, the 2005 Toyota Sequoia comes with an electric 4-wheel drive, which means with the push of a button, your car is going to be in 4-wheel drive. It sounds really fancy and like it should work great, but the problem with this is that when water got into the actuator on the transfer case, there was no communication getting to the actuator in order to switch it out of 4 low. So that's how it technically got stuck in 4 low. And then from there, we were kind of stuck with what to do.
So with water getting into our transfer case, we tried everything we could from researching online a way to fix it. I took the cover off thinking I could move the gears by hand, but that did not work as planned, and we were stuck in 4 low, which is behind the middle cover. So the only way for us to get home, and easy way, was for us to break the actuator. So we broke the actuator, as you guys can see, and this is where you can see the shift rods right here that you can move by hand at this point, right there and right there. So this is the 4-wheel drive, and this is the 4 low actuator. This is a lowering, and this is the regular 4-wheel drive. We put them into their disengaged position and held it together with a hose clamp. This held together well enough for us to get back home, but obviously we cannot leave it like this.
So after this whole situation and finally making it back home, we started to discuss what are our options, how are we going to fix this, and where we're going to go from here. So we have a few options, one of them being buying a new actuator, which looking online and looking kind of everywhere we saw, we're going for around $700 to $800 just to replace that one part. Our other option was to switch to a manual transfer case and getting one out of a Toyota FJ Cruiser. So that's actually the option that we went with, only because changing it to a manual transfer case and never having to deal with the electric system again seems more ideal, because if we change the actuator and keep the electric 4-wheel drive system, then there's no guarantee that we're not going to have the same problem if we do go in the water or go in any mud puddles in the future.
Now, swapping over the FJ Cruiser transfer case into the Sequoias is not a straightforward job. It's not like you can take out the old one and put this one back in. First of all, this thing has a big shifter that you have to put a hole in the floor to kind of mount it. You have to fabricate a new shift handle that we're going to show you guys, and everything associated with that. So we're hoping in this 2-part series to document and show you guys how to do a perfect FJ Cruiser transfer case swap into your Toyota Sequoia.
First up, it was time to prep the new transfer case to get it ready to put in the car. We started with hammering out the studs that normally hold the front drive shaft so the drive shaft on the Sequoia would fit. We started loosening all the bolts to remove the transfer case and did our best to pry it out of its position. We tried a few different methods and eventually got it to just fall all the way out.
Alright guys, so we got the factory transfer case out right here, and we have the FJ Cruiser transfer case right here. And here you can clearly see the main differences between the two. Clearly this one from the flange right here to the rear U-joint, drive shaft flange, or whatever you call it, it's quite a bit longer than the FJ unit. And the same goes for the front part. So you're going to need a shorter front drive shaft and a longer rear drive shaft. Now we're going to try to see if we can make it work without actually getting custom stuff, but we'll see how it goes once we start putting this thing inside and cutting a hole in the floor.
We now started to take apart the inside to see where we would need to make cuts for the new shifter. The interior comes apart pretty easily and is only held down by a few bolts. We watched a few videos on how to take it apart, and it came apart pretty easily. Eventually we were able to finally reach where our shifter would be put through into the cab. Once getting the interior prepped, we went back under the car and it was now time to put in the new transfer case. Now, there's a few different ways to approach this, and we tried multiple methods. We used the jack, we tried to do it together, and soon realized that it was just way easier for David to try to just put in the transfer case by himself. We of course made sure to secure it with a few bolts to hold it in place, and we're ready to go back to the interior.
Okay, so we just made this hole, just kind of see where we're at. If you can see down there, that's where the shifter normally is. We're just going to try to cut a little bit more and see where we're at.
Now that the transfer case was in, it was time to see exactly where we needed the shifter to end up. We ended up calling it a night after this since it was getting pretty dark.
Yeah, see? We can't even put this dude in here. We gotta get it somewhere here.
Alright guys, so it's day 2 of doing our little transfer case swap. Last night we were able to do the cut and get the shifter through the floor inside the cab. Today we're going to be modifying the shifter, that way we can have it in the correct position. So let's get into it. So we may have mentioned this in a clip before, but this is where the shifter is right now. And then for those familiar with the kind of center console of the SEQUOIA, we have the cup holders that are right here. So this shifter needs to move up and then maybe a little bit to the left. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be cutting the shifter. We already have some metal tubing that's going to be elongating that. So that's what we're going to be working on.
We made the first cut on the shifter closer to the base of it so we could rotate it to the other side. We then welded it in this new position.
So we have cut off our shift knob rod, and previously it was at this angle, so we chopped it off at the stem, and we're gonna clock it to position it like this so it can line up a lot better.
We still needed to make another cut in order to extend the shifter so it could be functional in the SEQUOIA. We finally welded on that piece of tubing in order to extend the shifter just enough.
So in our old FJ Cruiser transfer case, there was this little bushing thing that was broken that the shifter rides on. So we got a replacement one from Toyota.
We greased up the shifter and got it into place. Then came the hardest part of this entire operation, putting in the C-clip. This clip is what holds the shifter in place and squeezes down the spring. We struggled with putting the C-clip in for 3 hours since we could only use pliers and screwdrivers to try to get it into place. Eventually we got it and the shifter was finally finished. To cover up the hole in the center console, we picked up this $10 boot for someone on OfferUp and used some self-tapping screws to bolt it down. We were hoping that this will help eliminate some of the sounds that may be coming from the hole we just made. We also picked up the 2001 to 2004 Toyota SEQUOIA center console menu shift boot from eBay. It fits right into our existing center console and looks just great.
Okay, so normally the amplifier was sitting exactly where our shifter is now. So that's this piece right here. So we had to figure out where to put that. We looked inside the dash, not that much space, so we decided to remove this bracket piece here, which helps kind of hold the center console. And then slide it into there. So the center console is like pretty sturdy because it is bolted down from other locations. So we put that in there, solve that problem, and then now we're gonna add on that piece and the finishing touches, and then everything should work.
We began adding the finishing touches and putting the center console fully back together. It started to look more and more like the shifter had always been there.
So we are currently on the 3rd week or the 2nd week of working on this car. We had to take a long pause because originally I had ordered the wrong spacer. I'll put a picture of it right here. But we finally have the right one. So the bolt pattern for the SEQUOIA is a 66mm one. This is the right spacer. Don't buy the other one that I bought, which is for the 4Runners. So this is the last piece that you need to get the drive shafts to line up. Some people think you need to shorten the front one, but you really don't. You just gotta hammer out the studs and use regular grade 8 bolts in there, and we'll show you guys that right now.
The grade 8 bolts with the hardware, they're still not that tight. We're gonna get them tight right now. But yeah, and then the spacer is gonna go on the back one.
We then changed out the transfer case fluid since we were unsure when the last time it was changed, and also because we dumped half of it out on the floor when we were putting it in. We bolted on the new spacer with the rear drive shaft and made sure to torque down all the bolts.
So it's been a few days since we finally finished everything on the car and finished the interior. I've been driving the car for a few days and everything is just as normal. So the only thing that we need to address is these blinking lights on the 4-wheel drive. The car is very confused on where its 4-wheel drive actuator went, understandably. So I think we're going to be addressing that in a separate video. So the mechanical side of everything is pretty much wrapped up on the car and it shifts into high and low gears just fine. So our next step is going to be addressing the electrical side of things, and we're actually looking into getting a wiring harness for the front diff disconnect, which is also known as the ADD system.
Alright guys, so as Tiff said, the mechanical part is done. The only part left is the electrical side of things. We are going to make a separate video going over how to fix all the electrical issues regarding the FJ swap on the SEQUOIAs. The front ADD part will be pretty easy since we'll get the kit from 12 State Off-Road. Hopefully they have it out soon. Regarding the transfer case side, the FJ already has the sensors. The FJ transfer case already has the sensors for the engagement of what gear it's in. So all we have to do is figure out which wires from the actuator correspond with those and make a new harness for that. So we'll be figuring that out soon and having it out to show you guys hopefully in the next few weeks.
All right, guys, that's going to be it for this video. We hope you enjoyed and learned a little bit. One thing we want to say is that honestly, the swap is not super crazy. It may seem challenging because you're taking out a whole part of the car and putting another one in. But honestly, we were able to do it in our own driveway just in a few short days. And so definitely tackle it if you're up for the job. You guys can definitely do it. But if you have any questions at all, please feel free to hit us in the comments down below, or you can always message us on Instagram at overlanding_world. And be sure to stay tuned for part 2 of the video where we're going to dive into the electrical side of things and get the car working perfectly.